Thank you so much, Alex, and it's lovely being with you. And unfortunately, I was not able to join you in Romania, which would have been fun. But I'm here in Amsterdam, and it's actually quite cold here. I work for Pakhuis de Zwijger. I'm the head of development of Pakhuis de Zwijger, which is an organization, a cultural institution here in the city of Amsterdam. And if you look behind me, you can see it on the picture how the building looks, what the building looks like. We organize civic dialogue on all different kinds of topics. And it's always about what people can do to connect with each other and have a say about their own surroundings. We exist for over 16 years now. We've been operating quite a long time now, where we connect people together with the issues at hand. We do that not alone, but with many partners throughout the city of Amsterdam, but also throughout the Netherlands and throughout Europe. And of course, that's why we also were connected with you. And both Alex and Gracian have been to Pakhuis several times to share the Romanian example to the people here in the Netherlands. As I said, Pakhuis is a cultural institution. We bring people together. We organize talks here, dinners, all kinds of ways. And we broadcast from this very studio where I'm in right now. We broadcast our talks through to the city of Amsterdam, but also to the rest of the Netherlands. We focus on topics like anti-discrimination, inclusion, climate adaptiveness, climate neutral, but also what would the city look like if we switch to a more sustainable level of economics? What would entrepreneurs who would like to operate in, for example, the donut of Cape Raworth need to do, or what kind of obstacles do they encounter? These kind of topics do we encounter and do we program every day, 5 days a week, and about 40 weeks per year. This results in about 600 different kinds of events from all different kinds of topics. We always do that from the so-called Amsterdam approach, which means that where lots of people talk about the triple helix, we talk about the double triple helix. So the triple helix is about connecting government with big companies and universities, and we say that is simply not enough. You have to add to that the civic society, the smaller companies, shops, these kind of people, and most importantly, ordinary everyday citizens of our cities. So we really do have to connect them with the topic because they know what's best for their direct surroundings. It's a question of civility, it's a question of democracy, it's a question of the way society should be run, that everyone has their say and has a very important say on what happens on their doorstep. As I said, we do that about 600 times a year with different kind of people, but we also do it outside of our building. So we connect with the city government of Amsterdam. We connect with the provincial government, but also with other organizations and other governments in the area. For example, we work together with the ABN AMRO Bank and the Rabobank to talk about two large banks in the Netherlands, to talk about the so-called brede welvaart, or the future of economics and well-being instead of just growth of economics. We talk with the national government, and we organize with them several issues on against racism, against debate what's going on quite now in the Netherlands, on the apology from the government of the Netherlands for the history of slavery and the role of the Netherlands in that. So all different kinds of events. And to wrap it up, it's always very important from our perspective, and the thing I would say to you is, do connect everyday people. And again, we as an organization only strive to ask questions. We only strive to try to ask the right questions. So we bring together about 20 ambitions for a better world. So ambitions like the city of tomorrow should be beautiful, should be inclusive, should be caring, should be healthy, these kind of things. And we always do that to make sure that other people come up with the answer. And then it's the most important that we really push forward and go beyond cynicism. So really make sure that the issues at hand are being tackled. And to give one example for that, it is very easy when you, for example, just focus on mobility and transport to just say we should switch to electric mobility. But if you do that, you forget the amount of heavy metals you need or rare earth metals you need to implement that. The amount for just the Netherlands is 400% of the whole available amount of rare earth metals at this moment on Earth. So it's simply not feasible to follow that route. And not only talking about the impact that will have on livability of cities. So that's one topic where we should look broader and look at different solutions, different ways of connecting with people. The same thing goes with the economics of the future and how we connect people with that. So if you just focus on people should make money, just money and shareholder value, you forget that the impact of a company is much bigger than just shareholder value. It's kind of cynical if you ask me, if you just focus on that. You should focus on what's the impact on society, what's the impact on their surrounding, what's the impact on their customers, and perhaps most important, what's the impact on their employees. So to bring this together and to bring all these topics together is something that is a joy in my life, and I'm privileged to be able to do that together with a big team of about 45 other people who work directly for us, and about 20 other people who work quite regularly with us here in this organization and outside of the organization, with about over 100 organizations who support us or who work together with us to make this happen all over the world, including Urbanized Hub. So thank you for having me. I hope, Alex, this was the thing you hoped from me, or perhaps you have extra questions.
You brought more to the table than I would have expected, but I would want you to leave us with this thought, because you brought up the subject of questions, which I believe are important. And you've opened a lot of questions in the Netherlands. You've seen a lot of things happening there. What would you give us as the questions we should ponder on as we develop the cities of the future and as urban development goes its way? What questions should we have in mind to make sure that we make the right decisions?
The main thing we should focus on, I think, as Europeans, is what is our European way of organizing our society? Is the society we're building actually benefiting the people? Are we, as a people, benefiting from that? Or is it just a thing that helps when you put it in one lane and you focus truly on that, that helps that specific lane, but harms other ways? So the example I gave about electric driving, it sounds good, but if everyone has a private car that is electrified, that means that there is no space to make sure that the heat stress is taken care of, or with extreme rain, it is taken care of. And perhaps most important, children are not able to play safely on the street. So these are things you have to think about when you redesign cities, that it works for everybody who is involved in the city. And it sounds quite complicated because we're in a frame of mind that people, that we're in the old-fashioned way of thinking, but you should really think forward. And a person I work quite a lot, he's the professor of urban mobility futures, Marco te Brommelsgoed from the University of Amsterdam. And he says there are multiple futures, and the only thing we have to do is step out of our own frame and look at the options and the choices we have for tomorrow. And the thing with questions is try to ask the right questions so you can choose the future that really works for us all and not just for the happy few.
I will take as a indirect question, because you mentioned that in a great deal, what is the frame for which we look at our cities now? Because I think in order to re-envision the cities of the future, we also need to question what is our paradigm and how that maybe limits us in how we see the cities of the future.
Well, the things with like shareholder value or our economics where we're in right now seems like an inevitable thing, or the way we structured our cities seems like an inevitable thing. They're not. We have options to choose different things. And it doesn't mean we have to go back to communism. It doesn't mean we have to go back to horse-driven carriages. It simply means that we should have a humanistic approach to how we structure society, and we should really think about what this means for the choices we make. So this means that people can have freedom, people can have their own bubble, or their own area and their own expertise, and join in society with exploring that. But it also means that we should stop with things that are harmful. And one last example, there's a steel plant not far outside of Amsterdam, in the metropolitan region of Amsterdam. And it's called Tata Steel, it's an Indian company. and it's been there for ages. They are following fully to the letter of the law. They're following the law, so they're not criminal. But the effect, what they're doing, is harming the people living around them. And so we should rethink that. Even though they're not criminal by the letter of the law, they are making people sick, and quite seriously so. So this is simply unacceptable. So we should reframe these ways of thinking and looking at our own society and see this is not correct, we should do it differently. And then we need to have the right question that everybody involved is able to participate in that, including Tata Steel.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to take this idea to heart because the reason why we make these events is also to make sure we don't just give the right answers, but also the right questions. And before you go, I would like to give you the chance to send a message to Grazian, since this being the 5-year anniversary of Urbanize Hub, a nice little wish to him, and what would you like Urbanize Hub to do in the next 5 years?
Well, Grazian, congratulations. That is quite an achievement. As I said, I'm quite a big fan of yours and the things you do in Romania. This is really, really, really important. And keep on asking the right questions. And don't go into being tempted to give too many answers. So that will be my suggestion for the future.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Servaz. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you for joining us. And we look forward in future editions to have you in person. Because it's a great joy to also have you between the breaks and share stories of what you guys do there. Thank you very much, and see you next year.
See you soon. Bye.